I am Dan Cleary, and this is my book, The Wright Brothers, Then and Now. The second photograph in the book is titled 7 Hawthorn Street. And the inspiration for this photograph really came from two different places. It came from the quote that I've included in the book, and it came from the historic photograph of Daniel Henderson, who was standing in front of the Wright Brothers' house. And the quote goes like this: "If I were to give a young man advice as to how he might succeed in life, I would say to him, pick out a good father and mother and begin life in Ohio." Wilbur Wright. Orville Wright was interested in photography and made this historic photograph around 1897 of Daniel Henderson on the sidewalk in front of the Wright's house at 7 Hawthorn Street. When I saw this image, I imagined Orville taking his camera out on a beautiful day to ensure the camera was in good working order. Along comes Daniel Henderson, and after seeing the camera on a tripod, he asked Orville, "Hey, Mr. Wright, what you doing?" This imagined encounter was the source of my inspiration for this image. It made me look at the Wright brothers as photographers instead of just two men using photography to document their trials. Orville could have composed the photograph of Daniel in the center of the frame, but instead he placed Daniel in the lower right-hand corner of the image, directly in the line of perspective. For me, this is a much more sophisticated composition. I was familiar with the quote from Wilbur, and I liked the photograph of Daniel, and I immediately put the two together in my mind. All I had was to create the current day photograph of the house to combine the elements. But where is the house? Henry Ford acquired the house and cycle shop and relocated the buildings from Dayton to Dearborn, Michigan, to his museum complex in 1937. What now remains at 7 Hawthorn Street in Dayton is a replica of the front porch, the house facade, which had enough to create this image. 7 Hawthorn Street may be one of the more complex photographs in this series. The complexity is in how all the parts of the two images merge. The wrought iron railing fences in both of the pictures come together. The porch railings go from old to new. The sidewalk Daniel is standing on goes from new to old and back to new again. The area behind Daniel is from the contemporary photograph, but my first thought was that it must be old. The city of Dayton put up a replica street lamp that I included inside the old photograph frame, which you can see in the original elements. I even cut out between the old fencing areas so that the modern photograph could see through to the old. By the time I was finished, this photograph had at least 75 Photoshop layers. So as you can see, sometimes layering these photographs and letting the old and the new merge gets a little complex. But this was a fun one to work on and a fun one to get the two elements to come together.